Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro, friends. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Coffee Fest, happening in the Pacific Northwest in November. It's going to happen in Tacoma, Washington, and it is happening on the 15th and 16th of November. But on the 14th of November, myself and Jen O'Hare from Tiamat Leadership are going to be running a full day leadership workshop that is going to encompass, it's going to be called Lead into Leadership, Driving Success and Culture. And it's going to be filled with a lot of great information. So if you would like to check the details out, head to coffeefest.com/leadership and take a look at what's involved. It includes the full day workshop, admission into Coffee Fest on the 15th and 16th, as well as lunch on the day of the workshop and a bunch of networking stuff. So head to coffeefest.com/leadership and join us on the 14th of August in Tacoma, Washington. It's going to be awesome. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro, we're talking about employers and if they're expecting too much from their employees. And I really implore you, if you are an employer, I implore you to ask yourself the question, am I expecting too much from my employees? Excuse me. This is a question that popped into my head after I observed something really interesting on Instagram, where I saw an advertisement for, a cafe in London was looking for an employee, a shift lead or a manager, someone in a leadership position. And they said something that really struck me. They said, must be available 7 days with a completely flexible time schedule. And it just got me thinking, I wonder how much somebody's going to get paid for a kind of a not high level leadership position where they're going to be expected to be available 7 days a week at all times. And I don't think that that's reasonable. And it led me to think about, well, what else is it that's out there that people think where's the line, essentially? Where's the line of what you can expect from your employees and what is not okay to expect from employees? And it's a real thing. And it's something that I really would invite you, if you're an employer, to take stock of and ask yourself, are the things that I'm expecting from my employees reasonable, or are they based on what I would do for my own business? So this idea, I'm not asking them to do anything I wouldn't do myself. Now, it's awesome if you as an employer are happy to wash the toilets. It's awesome if you're happy to get in there and jump on bar or jump on the roaster or do any of that stuff that you expect from your employees. But I want to suggest that there's an alternative way to ask that question, because it's your business. It's not that you should expect them to do anything that you would do. It's that they shouldn't be expected to show up with the same passion and the same determination and the same grit that the owner of the business is turning up with. And look, it's a wonderful thing if they do. And that's not what I'm saying. We're all looking for people to work for us that we can mentor into leadership positions and hopefully off to run their own businesses one day. But your expectation that your staff have the same commitment to your business as you do is absolutely unreasonable. So to expect your staff to be flexible and available all the time with a completely open and flexible schedule 7 days a week. That's completely unreasonable and very unboundaried. So when I look at something like that, and this is something I'm going to make sure that we talk about in the leadership workshop that I'm going to be leading in Tacoma at Coffee Fest. We're talking about 3 specific leadership styles: a passive leadership style, an aggressive leadership style, and an assertive leadership style. Now, having no boundaries, where you're expecting people to be available all the time, 7 days a week, that can be seen as both aggressive and passive. It's one of those things where you're leaving all the options open so that that person's boundaries are totally disrespected and you get to call on them whenever you want. Now, I know that there is a lot of people out there looking for work and that people would be happy to take whatever they can get. But we've got to be reasonable. Happy employees make happy workplaces. And when someone has boundaries around their work and they can go off and live a really happy life as well, or just a break from work, when they show up to work, they are going to be happier. But if they feel tied to and constantly anxious about the fact that they may get called into work at any moment because they have to constantly be on call and they can't plan anything else in their life, long term they're going to build up resentment. And I know in the beginning you get these employees that are fabulously passionate about, yes, let me show you that I want to be everything. But there is a time limit on how long that stamina will last. So it's about getting into a groove and having clear boundaries around what you expect from your employees so that they know how to best show up and you both know where the boundary is. You both know where the line is. But having no boundaries and having no lines is not fair. It's not fair to them. And in turn, it's not going to be fair to you, because then you're going to be wondering, why can't I find any decent employees? And it's not that you can't find decent employees, it's that you're chewing through them because you're burning them out. They don't want to live with the anxiety. And I want to have a mention there about generational workforces as well. If you are a baby boomer or a Gen Xer, and you're owning businesses, you've got to look at the next generations, millennials and Gen Zs or Gen Zs, depending on where you are. You've got to look at them from their lens. They don't show up to work expecting that pay is the only thing they'll receive. They also are not going to give you everything that they have the same way generations before them would. Working hard to prove themselves isn't the only way they're going to show up. They're going to work smart as well. So I implore you again, consider the kind of culture that you're looking to build and find the right people to fill the culture that you're trying to build. And more importantly, understand where you're drawing the boundaries so that you can find the right people to fill those positions and find a long-term solution to finding flow in your business by expecting reasonable things from your employees. It will benefit you long-term and your business long-term, and then it will go on to create a thriving environment that customers want to frequent because everybody's happy, working really hard, because the expectations of them are something that are reasonable. I hope that that's helped. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear if you think that this is reasonable. I'd love to know if you think that we are expecting too much or not enough from our workforce these days. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.